Truckers are getting put out of service for not understanding English. And this isn't something brand new. It's been a rule in law for many years, but so many states are now finally enforcing it pretty freaking hard. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what's going on with this Florida crackdown, what the law actually says, and why drivers feel like they are just suddenly getting shut down for something that most people don't even think about. In this video, I'm also going to toss in some bonus audio of what it sounds like roadside when someone is being interviewed for the English language proficiency and they are being put out of service. And more importantly, I'm going to tell you exactly how to avoid this happening to you, because whether you agree with this or not, this is being enforced and it's not going anywhere. If you're new here, I break down trucking news, FMCSA updates, and what actually happens roadside during DOT inspections. No fluff, no guessing, no emotions, no opinions. I give you the information straight and I explain it properly. If you want or need that, hit that subscribe button, join the family, let's get into the video. Yes, my shirt says, did you pre-trip or not? Anyway, so let's talk about what's actually going on. Recently, there have been so many reports coming out of Florida where troopers are conducting inspections and drivers are being placed out of service because they cannot communicate in English or understand basic road signs. Now, this isn't just random. This is being documented, filmed, and talked about across the entire industry.
How good is your English?
Entiendo algún poquito.
Can you speak any English? No, don't speak no English.
Okay, so didn't speak English, he said. This trucker failed the test. He was taken out of service right away. He didn't know what the road signs meant.
And what's catching a lot of people off guard is this. Drivers are being asked pretty much basic questions, or asked to read or interpret road signs. And when they can't, yeah, that's leading to enforcement action, which makes sense, right? In one of the actual inspections that was filmed, the driver was asked basic questions about road signs. And all the responses were pretty much just the word no multiple times, no matter what the question was. And communication with the trooper was only happening in Spanish. And that's where this becomes a real issue. Not theoretical, but again, a real issue. And in a second here, I'm going to actually explain what the FMCSA regulation really says. Because like we know, this is not a new law, it's just being enforced differently and harder. Now let's get into the part that actually matters, the law. Under 391.11b2, a driver must be able to read and speak the English language sufficiently to converse with the general public, understand highway traffic signs and signals, respond to official inquiries, and make entries on reports and records. Even the FMCSA administrator Derek Bars came out and said, "This has been the law for a long time and it simply just comes down to safety." He said because if there's a crash or something happening up ahead, drivers need to understand what's going on and how to respond. So you get it, this isn't something new. This law has been in place for many years in the trucking industry. The main difference is severity of enforcement, because historically this hasn't always been strictly enforced roadside, but now in many states and many areas, it is. Let me ask you something, have you actually seen ELP or English language proficiency tested or enforced roadside? Let me know down in the comments. Now you may be asking yourself, why now? Why is the stricter enforcement taking place now out of all times? Why are we suddenly seeing this pushed harder? Here's the reality. Enforcement trends change, priorities shift, and when something becomes a focus, you start seeing it more and more. This ties into safety concerns, communication during inspections, and just overall compliance. One of the Florida troopers even said this. He pretty much said when you're driving 70 miles per hour, you only see those road signs for a split second. So if you can't understand them instantly, that becomes a serious safety concern, and I'm sure you can all agree with that. And shortly, I'm going to explain to you exactly how this plays out during a roadside inspection, because this is where so many drivers get caught. So let's actually walk through what this really looks like in real life. You get pulled in. The inspector starts asking questions. Basic things like where are you going? Where are you coming from? What are you hauling or what are you carrying? You know, things like that. The normal questions. Now, at that point, if there's a very clear communication barrier, that's where things start going a little bit sideways. Because part of being a qualified driver is being able to communicate effectively during that process. And if that can't happen at all, that's where enforcement comes in. Now I'm going to play that bonus audio that I promised you because I need y'all to hear this just to see how things pretty much go.
I'm going to ask you a couple questions off of this interview list. This is for English language proficiency. And I'm going to ask you about these signs as well, the separate pieces of paper here. So how long have you been driving today?
What?
How long have you been driving today?
No, I don't know.
What are you carrying today?
What is it?
What are you carrying today? What are you hauling? Who are you driving for? Who are you driving for? Like company, who? We'll just move on to the signs now, okay?
Yeah.
What does this sign mean?
Ferrocarril.
So you can see where that inspection went, and it did lead to an out of service for lack of understanding English, knowing how to speak English, and knowing how to point out pretty much any street signs at all. Right now, I'm going to tell you exactly what you should be doing, or if you know anybody that has issues with this, what they should be doing, so that they can make sure that this never becomes a problem for them. Now, let's talk about what actually matters, because this is what you should be doing so that you are not in this situation. Number one is just understanding that this regulation really does exist. A lot of drivers simply don't realize just how clearly this is all written out. Number two, this is a big one here. Make sure you can communicate clearly in English, make sure you can understand basic questions, and know how to read and interpret all road signs. That is important. You are driving a truck. You need to know what the road signs are saying in order for you to be safe and in order for you to keep everyone else on the road safe. And a little bonus tip is just to keep on practicing. The learning doesn't stop just at learning basic English. And no, this isn't about being perfect. It's about being able to function safely and effectively on the road. Now, let me know, do you think this should be enforced more strictly? Or do you think this is being pushed way too hard right now? Drop it down in the comments with your opinions. Here's the bottom line. Like I said already, this is not a new rule. This isn't something that just came out of nowhere. But it is something that's being enforced more and a lot stricter, and that's really something that's catching so many drivers off guard. And that's why videos like this and making videos like this really matter for everyone out on the road. Because the last thing you want to find out during an inspection is that you're out of service because you can't read, speak, understand English. And the last thing other drivers and other people on the road want are drivers that cannot properly read the road signs to operate safely in a CMV. If you got value from this video, please consider hitting that like, subscribe, and hype button so that we can keep growing this community. And it helps push the channel out to more drivers and people that just want to stay ahead of the game. And if you want real trucking updates, FMCSA updates, and what's actually happening out here and properly broken down, might I add, this is the place for you. Until next video, stay safe, keep rolling.